In a quiet courtroom, a man sat waiting for one sentence that could either give him his life back or take away the little girl he called his whole world. For 3 years, he had driven 160 miles every other weekend, paid support, fought through court orders, and held on to one belief: Jaylee was his daughter. But across the room, her mother insisted the truth was different. And when the DNA results arrived, everyone in that courtroom held their breath.
The case was called Miller versus Rasmussen. At the center of it was a 3-year-old girl named Jaylee, a child too young to understand why adults were fighting over her name, her future, and the meaning of the word father. Mrs. Miller had come to court with one mission. She wanted to prove that her ex-boyfriend, Scotty Rasmussen, was not Jaylee's biological father. She said she had been in an ongoing custody battle with him and that she had asked the court several times for DNA testing, only to be denied.
In an ongoing court battle over custody and have petitioned the court several times for a DNA test, all of which have been denied.
Yes, Your Honor.
Scotty sat across from her with a completely different story. To him, this was not about truth. It was about hate. He told Judge Lake that Mrs. Miller did not want him to have visitation because she resented him. He admitted that near the end of their relationship, things had fallen apart. He admitted he had gone to another woman. He did not try to dress it up or make excuses. That was my mistake, he said. But Mrs. Miller pushed back. She said it was not just one mistake. According to her, Scotty had cheated through almost their entire relationship.
Being a cheater, he cheated on me through pretty much our whole relationship.
She said she did not hate him, but she had lost respect for him.
Still, the judge wanted to know why that mattered when it came to Jaylee. Scotty said he loved the child. He said he drove 160 miles every other week just to pick her up and bring her back. Over time, he estimated, that had added up to nearly 10,000 miles.
I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off.
It was wear on his car, it was gas money, it was hours on the road. But to him, it was worth it. Mrs. Miller did not see it that way. She believed Scotty only wanted visitation so he could claim Jaylee on his income taxes. Scotty looked hurt by the accusation. He said that could not be further from the truth. He wanted visitation because Jaylee meant everything to him. He wanted to be part of her life as much as possible.
The judge pointed out something obvious. If Scotty was driving that far,
Miles each way every other weekend, the money he would get in his taxes, he's spending in gas.
whatever tax benefit he might get could easily be spent on gas. And on top of that, he was paying child support. Scotty brought proof. He explained that he paid about $50 a week, plus fees with each payment and an annual fee to the state. It was not a fortune, and he knew that. But he also said he tried to provide what Jaylee needed when he saw her. Then his frustration spilled out. He asked if that money was enough to buy her clothes, so she would not have to come to him in cut sweatpants and the same t-shirt. He asked if it was enough to buy underwear, so that at her age, she would not still be in diapers. Mrs. Miller interrupted. She said Jaylee had underwear and that she was not in diapers. She was in pull-ups because she was still having trouble with potty training. But Judge Lake saw the bigger issue. If Scotty was paying support and spending money just to see Jaylee, then this did not look like a fight about money. So the judge asked Mrs. Miller plainly,
Why is it you don't want him involved in this child's life?
Because
why did she not want Scotty involved? Her answer was simple. Because she still believed he was not Jaylee's father. That was the reason everyone was there. Mrs. Miller explained that Jaylee had been born in March of 2011. Around the time she believed Jaylee was conceived, Scotty was not even in the same state.
She was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state. He was
in Las Vegas. She said they were not together then, because Scotty had left her after cheating. During that time, she had been with another man.
I wasn't even with him. I was with somebody else because
Judge Lake understood the pattern. An on and off relationship, betrayal, breakups, and another possible father. But there was one problem.
I believed I was, and still believe, I was the only biological father. And
Scotty had clearly believed he was Jaylee's father. He was on the birth certificate. Jaylee had his last name. He had been paying child support. He had been fighting for visitation. Scotty said he believed he was Jaylee's biological father until she was about 5 or 6 months old. That was when they were in family court, discussing custody, school, doctors, and visitation. Mrs. Miller raised the possibility that another man might be the father. At that time, Scotty said, someone in court tried to calculate the dates, and it seemed like the pregnancy would have lasted 10 months if the other man was the father. That made no sense to him, so he held on to what he believed. But later, he went back through old Facebook posts, notes, and dates. He realized Jaylee's March birth could line up with a 9-month pregnancy involving the other man.
Still, Scotty's memories of Jaylee's birth were not distant or vague. They were vivid. He said he had been at every doctor's appointment. On the day Jaylee was born, he was working as a cashier when he got the call that Mrs. Miller was going into labor. He finished with the customer in front of him, turned off his checkout light, told the next customer there was an emergency, and went straight to his supervisor.
I went up to my manager, my immediate supervisor, said, hey, I gotta go, my girlfriend's in labor.
My girlfriend is in labor, he said. He went home, changed clothes quickly, and drove about 45 miles to the hospital through winding Wisconsin roads in December with snow on the ground. He said he made it there in under 35 minutes and arrived before Mrs. Miller. From the moment she got there until she was discharged, he said, he stayed. He even told his boss he needed several days off, whether they fired him or not, because his daughter was being born. Mrs. Miller shook her head. She said that story was not true.
that's a lie.
She claimed that after Jaylee was born, Scotty left the room.
After she was born, he was gone. He ran out of the room.
And she did not see him for about 20 minutes. During labor, she said, he sat on a hospital bed with his computer, off in the corner, not paying attention to her. Scotty admitted he had been on his computer, but said it was because he needed a way to calm himself down. He was overwhelmed and excited to become a father.
Because I was so excited to be a father.
The judge asked Mrs. Miller if she denied that Scotty was excited about the birth. Mrs. Miller said she did not see much excitement. Then Judge Lake asked the question that hovered over the whole case.
Come get me.
What was the problem exactly? You let him sign the birth certificate.
If Mrs. Miller had doubts, why had she allowed Scotty to sign the birth certificate? Why did Jaylee have his last name? Mrs. Miller said they were engaged. She believed they would get married. She believed they would have a happy life and raise their daughter together. But about 3 months after Jaylee was born, one of Scotty's friends told her what he had allegedly been doing throughout the relationship. Cheating, meeting different women, going different places. After that, she said, she was done.
Where's this other possible father?
The judge asked where the other possible father was. Mrs. Miller said she was not sure. After they separated, he changed his number, moved away, and almost vanished. She said she had tried to find him and contact him, but she could not locate him. Judge Lake did not let the moment pass lightly. She reminded Mrs. Miller that while Scotty's cheating may have been wrong, Mrs. Miller had also been intimate with another man. Mrs. Miller insisted she had been single at the time. She said Scotty was with another woman, and she had unknowingly become the side chick. But the judge returned to the child. Scotty had stepped up as if he had a newborn daughter. Even after the breakup, they were in court arranging custody and visitation. Yet Mrs. Miller had known deep down there was another possible father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why wait so long to tell him?
Why wait months to tell him? Mrs. Miller said that as Jaylee got older, she began to notice more of the other man's features in her face. Scotty disagreed completely.
She looks exactly like I did when I was 3 years old. I have a picture of me when I was 3 and a picture of her from just the other day.
Let me see that.
He brought in a childhood photo of himself at around 3 years old and compared it to a recent photo of Jaylee. He said they looked alike. Same face, same chin, same dimples. He even noted that as a child, he had blonde hair too.
Mrs. Miller looked at the photos and said she did not see it. Scotty saw everything. To him, Jaylee was his daughter in every way that mattered. The judge then asked about visitation. Scotty explained that he now had Jaylee every other weekend, but it had taken a long road to get there. At first, visits were uncertain and informal. Then he had to sit in a park with Mrs. Miller and Jaylee for 4 hours a week for 4 weeks. After that, he got 4-hour visits alone, then 1 overnight a week. Finally, he reached the schedule he had now. When asked about his relationship with Jaylee, Scotty's voice changed. He said it was amazing. Whenever he had her, he tried to make the most of their time, even if money was tight. They went to the park, they went fishing, they went to recreation centers. Every little memory mattered.
Then the judge asked the question no loving parent ever wants to face. Had he prepared himself for either outcome? Scotty said that if the results proved what he believed in his heart, he would be overwhelmed with relief. All the fighting, all the drama, all the pain would finally be behind him. But if the results went the other way, he said he did not think all the time in the world could prepare him for that kind of bombshell. Not just for him, for his entire family.
When the DNA results were brought into the courtroom, Judge Lake opened the envelope and read the finding in the case of Miller versus Rasmussen concerning 3-year-old Jaylee. Scotty Rasmussen was not her biological father.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father.
Before the weight of those words could even settle, Mrs. Miller reacted loudly. It came across like a celebration. Judge Lake stopped her immediately. She reminded Mrs. Miller that the alternative was not some happy victory. The other possible father was a man who was nowhere to be found, a man who had no known relationship with her or with Jaylee. Meanwhile, Scotty sat there crushed because he loved that little girl.
The judge told Mrs. Miller that many women came into court hoping a man would drive even 16 miles to see their child, let alone 160. Scotty had signed the birth certificate. He had paid support. He had followed court orders. He had fought for more time so he could build a relationship with Jaylee. And now, a 3-year-old child would have to be told that the man she knew as her father was not her biological dad. Scotty broke down. He said he did not know what he was going to do. Jaylee was his whole world. Everything he did was for her. She was the reason he went to work every day. Judge Lake told him she was sorry. Then she turned back to Mrs. Miller with a final warning. Jaylee had the right to know who her biological father was. Whether that man wanted to be present or not, he had a legal obligation to support her. And every decision Mrs. Miller made from that day forward would become part of the story she would one day have to tell her daughter. Because this was never just about DNA. It was about love, responsibility, and the painful truth that biology can change a legal answer, but it cannot erase 3 years of memories from a child's heart.